Hello. Today I would like to present to you, on behalf of CJS Solutions, about creating and implementing a records and information management plan for city growth food gardens. In this presentation, I will be discussing city growth food gardens background, their records and information management problem, and our solution to creating a more organized and efficient system for their growing organization. City Growth Food Gardens, or CGFG, is a nonprofit organization that was founded after receiving a North American Food Systems Network (NAFSN) grant in 2016. Located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the organization is still relatively small, with 10 full-time employees and 22 regular volunteers, in addition to community volunteers. CGFG's purpose is to serve the community through active initiatives that emphasize community involvement and collaboration. The organization creates green spaces through sustainable food gardens with the help of local citizens and the area's homeless population. CGFG also works with local government to promote changes in zoning laws that will allow for the legal creation of green spaces and gardens. Education is also a significant aspect of the organization, as employees and volunteers strive to educate individuals about nutrition, safe production of natural foods, and state and federal laws governing urban agriculture. The board of directors is comprised of 5 members, including the chairperson of the organization and 4 community members. Recently, the board of directors recognized the need to organize CGFG's records and information, which contain both physical materials and digital files. In its plan of action for the next 3 years, the board determined that the organization would hire an information advisory firm to assist in establishing a records organization plan. CGFG has received a small state grant to hire a RIM firm to assist in this project. CGFG is a growing grant-funded nonprofit organization. In preparing for a 2018 grant audit, the Board of Directors and management team identified concerning records management practices that made locating required records and information for the audit more challenging, even though the organization has kept rather meticulous records. The organization currently has no records management policy to govern file naming conventions, storage, retention, or disposition. While they have taken some care in organizing documentation relating to grant funding, the organization has no system to keep track of their records. Records often have unclear titles and are duplicated and stored in multiple locations. There is no classification scheme or filing plan, so documents of the same type are being described and categorized differently by multiple employees in digital file hierarchies that may have unique materials or overlap with other employees' files. CJS Solutions is excited to work with City Growth Food Gardens to create a records management policy to govern file naming conventions, storage, retention, and disposition. We have 8 steps we will undertake in implementing a successful RIM plan. First, we will begin by incorporating ethnographic techniques to gain a better understanding of the organization. We will survey and interview staff and volunteers, and then work closely with a designated RIM team from different areas to identify which documents currently exist, where they are housed, who created them, how they are used, and by whom. This will allow us to complete an inventory of the records. Next, we will determine who will manage the records. The designated RIM team will be made up of different employees who are interested in being part of creating the plan. They can remain on the team following implementation to assist in managing the records, or they may assist in selecting others who they believe may be more qualified. The chairperson will reach out to these people to request that they assist in managing records for their areas as an expansion of their current duties. Third, we will develop a records retention and disposition schedule. Because CGFG has only operated for 3 years, the business does not necessarily need to dispose of any current records. At this stage in its existence, the nonprofit is more in need of a business classification scheme that identifies document types and defines file naming conventions. However, the RIM team will make suggestions on how to identify rot. There are duplicate files within the organization that need to be deleted. Fourth, we will determine the best way to store and manage records. Because CGFG is a small organization with limited funding, CSJ Solutions is recommending the incorporation of SharePoint as a records and information management tool. Different features will be implemented to assist the RIM team to monitor RIM organization. Additionally, CGFG has agreed to use Island Internet Solutions as a backup service to ensure information security. CGFG employee and volunteer involvement through the project will assist in the creation and implementation of procedures to support their new RIM processes. CJS Solutions will work with the CGFG RIM team to create a procedure template and identify which processes should be documented and in which order they should be written. The procedures will be kept in a repository within SharePoint that will allow all team members access. The RIM team will determine how often procedures should be reviewed for possible revision and set up a review schedule in SharePoint that will disseminate reminders to members who own the procedure. CJS Solutions will assist CGFG in the creation of a disaster recovery team and lead the group to develop a plan that will be effective for the organization's needs. The plan will include a communication plan in case of disaster, names of vendors who will be contracted for disaster recovery, a detailed map of the organization's office, and a list of materials that should be removed from the premises if no digital version exists. Using Island Cloud Internet Solutions as a backup service to ensure information security will support the effort to eliminate risk of a data breach. The next step will be training staff and volunteers in order to implement the new system. Members of the RIM team who have worked closely with CJS Solutions will become mentors to their colleagues and will be involved in training and the implementation of the new system. The RIM team members will be a resource to others by answering questions and assisting in problem solving. Finally, to maintain the program for yearly auditing, the organization will prepare by using a forward-thinking approach and keeping schedules and reconciliations up to date using SharePoint. The organization will review its records at least every 6 months. CJS Solutions and the RIM team will develop an auditing checklist which will assist in maintaining program standards. A RIM plan will assist the organization to more effectively monitor and control their records, especially those used to prove grant compliance, mitigating risks of noncompliance. Additionally, the RIM plan will allow the management of legal records, such as permits and supplier contracts for the organization's garden initiative, as well as personal employee and volunteer records that contain personally identifiable information. Implementing policies and standards allows for the easier monitoring of information. Clear file structures and naming conventions makes finding and tracking information easier. Eliminating duplicate and obsolete materials ensures that only the most relevant information is preserved and saves time in finding correct versions of materials. Finally, incorporating a disaster and recovery plan can save the organization a great deal of time and money if faced with a weather, environmental, or human-made disaster. Thank you for listening to our presentation on how we can create and implement a records and information management plan for city growth food gardens. Please feel free to contact us with your questions.